Today I fucked up by washing my husband's old, well-loved passports.
We recently moved states and in the process of unpacking, my husband came across 2 of his old passports, one from his teens and one from his 20s. He's a well-traveled guy and has a lot of stamps from a lot of places. He was just showing them all to me last night on our back patio. Anyway, after his show and tell, he stuck them in his pocket, and he did not take them out before taking off his shorts and leaving them on the ground in our room. This morning, in a mad dash to do laundry, I grabbed them from the floor, not realizing the passports were inside. I feel so terrible.
My husband doesn't cry often, and he cried when he learned what I did.
Going through the pages of one, most everything is still legible, but it's obviously not in the condition it was before.
He wouldn't let me go through the other, which looked a little worse, and asked me to leave him alone for a while. Fair enough. I just feel terrible. Too long did not read. I washed my husband's passports full of memories. My wife used to frequently remind me to empty my pockets.
Thankfully, I've gotten better at it.
She recently washed our toddler's bedding. I'm not sure how, but one of my books I've had since childhood went through the laundry with the bedding. This was not a small book. He really should have emptied his pockets, but at least your mistake is understandable. Edit, added photo. It's tough to be the _cause_ even though it wasn't your _fault _. I hope your hubby doesn't blame you for this. It would be really unfair if he did.
As much as we can point fingers and blame him for not being more careful with his passport, his feelings of dismay are valid. As much as you can't be held at fault for something you didn't know, your feelings of guilt are valid.
I hope you can both work through those feelings together and move forward.
Bunch of weirdos in here trying to claim who is justified or has a right to have feelings.
I had to make sure this wasn't "Am I the asshole?"
Title of this post should be, "Today my husband fucked up by not putting laundry in the proper place and not checking his pockets." Quote.
100% his fault. How is it your fault that he left them in his pocket? Edit. I should clarify, I'm not saying the husband is blaming her, I'm saying she thinks it's her fault. In fairness, if I'm doing laundry I've collected from the floor, I will check the pockets.
If the lever of said clothes is also available, I will check if they wanted them washed in the first place.
If the laundry is in the laundry basket, then it goes straight in the wash. It's the lever's responsibility to check pockets in this circumstance. Today I fucked up by tie-dyeing my toddler and thinking I would get CPS called.
Happened 2 days ago, but I thought it was a funny facepalm your moment.
Altogether pretty wholesome for a today I fucked up but thought I would post anyway. Too long did not read. At the bottom.
A bit of backstory: my in-laws have a long-standing tradition where every year they and their high school friends rent lake houses on the same lake and have parties, bonfires, boat rides, skiing, tubing, the general lake vacation activities.
Over the years, their group has grown with having kids bringing significant others, and now the kids bringing kids of their own.
The past 3 years all the grandbabies got matching outfits or shirts for a group picture. This year was my time to shine. I offered to make some custom shirts with my cricket for the 7 littles that will be there this year.
I have my heat press vinyl, I have my computer, and a cool idea in my head and set to work. I run to the local big box store to pick up bright colorful shirts for my design. Problem is all the bright colorful shirts have ugly designs already on there. My options are black and white. I check the craft section where there's usually a couple of options of plain shirts for the same purpose. No luck.
But there is a tie-dye kit. Bingo!
I'll dye the white shirts all fun and bright. Cool, game on.
I set to work folding, twisting, rubber banding, and patiently wait for my toddler to wake from her nap so we can do this fun arts and crafts project together.
I figured she could pick the colors and possibly with my guidance, she could squirt it on the shirt. Fast forward to this actually playing out. I set up in the grass in my backyard to avoid staining anything, and start squirting the colors my daughter picks out onto the shirts.
It's working great.
I see a lot of excess dye in the grass, so I move to a fresh area for each shirt while my daughter runs around shouting colors and running back and forth handing me bottles. She's having a blast. My husband comes to the yard to check on progress, and notices tiny footprints all across our concrete patio. And asked why I was dyeing her in the process. I look up from my masterpieces and realize my daughter has been running through and kneeling in the excess dye in the grass. The bottoms of her feet were black and large splotches are up her legs. It was adorable. We finish our project and I decide to clean this kid up. The more I scrub the dye off this kid, the more it's looking like awful bruises. The poor girl looked absolutely battered.
We're due to hop on a plane in a couple days and I'm trying to figure out how best to dress her to cover her legs so we don't get funny looks and possibly get CPS called on us for having a bruised and battered child.
Then the realization hits me. I don't have to worry about someone in the airport. I have to worry about the pediatrician the next day. I'm Googling ways to get dye off skin and tried everything. It's looking worse and worse every time.
Defeated, I give up and settle for just explaining and hope they realize that it's not bruises and my child is very loved and not abused.
Fast forward to the next day at the doctor.
The nurse gives my daughter's poor legs a look and I immediately splurt out. She was in a tie-dye accident. The nurse looks at me as if to say, huh, and I tell her, before anything I swear it's not bruises all over her legs and feet. We were tie-dyeing shirts and she decided to play in the work area resulting in her legs looking like that.
She gave a quick once-over to my daughter and agreed that when you look closer, it definitely looked like dye but not with a quick glance. Too long did not read. Tie-dyed a bunch of shirts for a family vacation resulting in my toddler being dyed and looking like a battered and abused child right before a doctor visit, making me think they were going to call Child Protective Services on me. I bet you wanted to curl up and die. One day you and your baby will look back on this and die of laughter. Smirk. I know.
GIF. Giphy. CD7 PLGE1 KWOHG, downsized. If you use it again, a clear storage tub is great for messes, then you can pop the lid on to let the shirts rest while they dye.
But I had to stain a deck pink and purple before I learned this.
That's both adorable and horrific.
I'm glad it worked though.
Good memories you will laugh about.
Color oops get recommended a lot in the hair dye subs. If your kid isn't allergic, I've used liquid Tide to strip color from my skin before. Blue Dawn dish soap works well, too. There are lots of options to help life the color. Smile. I hope you took lots of photos, though, because that's going to be a fun story someday.
As a clumsy person, I'm often covered in bruises I don't remember.
I have an osteopath that has mentioned that he can generally tell the difference between walked into the furniture again bruises and walked into the furniture again bruises, and I expect pediatricians are just as practices given how much little kids bump into things. I imagine dye looks even less like abuse, so they probably weren't too worried. Today I fucked up, thought the price of a dining table included the chairs. I went to a furniture store three times looking at dining tables.
First I went to the store by myself, looked around and found a table.
I then went with my mom and we decided on the same table. Finally went back to make the purchase with my sister. But all three times I was at the store, I never looked at the details below the prices. My sister and I decided on the same table as our mom. My sister was ordering our new dining table, only to find out the listed price was for the table only. The chairs were an additional $200 each. We needed 8 chairs. By the end of it, what I thought would have been a $900 dining set ending $2,500. Yay, no thanks. Took 3 of us to figure this out. Too long did not read. Went to furniture store 3 times, first by myself, then mom and finally to purchase with my sister. Only to realize listed price was for table and did not include the chairs. What I thought would be a $900 table turned out be $2,500. If you're in love with the table, you can buy the table there and look at getting the chair from elsewhere. We've done that, bought a solid wood table directly from the manufacturer and got 8 chairs from IKEA for $40 each, lol. Do you have furniture consignment stores near you? A nice table and chairs can be had for under $400. Don't be afraid for used, it's usually better built. In all actuality, $2,500 is still pretty good for a nice dining set though. Furniture prices are absolutely crazy, which would fair enough if they were built like they used to be built. Be paying $1,000s for some of the worst quality wood imaginable when you shop at some furniture stores. Always some solid stuff for a good price on Facebook Marketplace. Check out your local Habitat Restore. I only buy my furniture there now.
The couches, love seats and chairs are almost always in like new condition in the stores around here.
I got a couch and love seat for $350. Brand new, they go for $5,200 for the set.
Really?
You really thought you could get a whole large dining table and 8 chairs for $900?
That is $100 per item. That is like 1970 prices. And it never occurred to you that some families need 4, 6, 8 or 10 chairs? So like the price was the same in your head no matter how many chairs you needed.